Welcome, everyone. Another episode of Financial 15. Lots of good information today. Kevin and I get asked quite frequently about CPP and OAS. We're going back to that topic today, going through how do you apply for these two pensions. There's a couple of tips and tricks worthwhile to know. We'll get into all of that today. You definitely want to stick around.
Yeah, basically, we get a lot of those questions. Everybody knows how much they want, when they want it, and everything else, but nobody ever tells you how to apply for it. Today, we want to go through those steps just to make sure that you can collect it when you hit there. Also, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Plenty of great videos there. Wonderful content on this, a variety of other CPP and other options that we've got going forward as well. Go to our Facebook and like us there, or especially visit us at beckerorr.com. That's our website where we've got tons of financial information as well as the back and forth that you always love. But today we are talking CPP, OAS. How do you apply for them? Clint, what are the standards? What do we need to deal with? Paperwork, online, how do we get this going?
There's a whole series of steps we have to go through. And best to start at the beginning. Step number one, CPP OAS. Before you want to go through the application, you want to make sure you qualify for either pension. That's a good starting point. For CPP here, Kevin, qualification, well, you got to be at least 60 years of age. Typical start date 65, but you can take it as early as 60. And this is the system everyone pays into. So you have to pay into CPP before you're allowed to take something out of CPP. So if you made at least one CPP contribution and you're age 60 or older, you will qualify and it'll be worthwhile to apply. What is it for old age security, Kevin?
Yeah, old age security is definitely a little bit different. It's 65 years of age is the earliest that you can get it, and you will get it at that point in time if you want. Now, you have to have lived in Canada at least 10 years since the age of 18 to qualify. So again, this is a residency one that you have. And again, if we're dealing with you're living abroad at that point in time, there may be a little bit of a difference here and there. But again, those are things that we can deal with, and we have dealt with in other videos. So again, you can take a look at that scenario and see what it is there. But for OAS, 65, 10 years after the age of 18.
That's right. And if you're living abroad, it's 20 years, and you're right. We have a whole video on that, so we won't get into it today, but that's the basic qualification for old age security. Step number two, you need to decide when you want to start your pension. There are a couple of options here for CPP, a couple of options for old age security. We won't get into that can of worms today. We've done other videos on that very topic, but for CPP, you must decide when you want to take it. For old age security, there's an automatic feature. They're going to send you the forms automatically for 65. And you can fill them in and take it at 65. Or if you do want to delay it, you're going to have to indicate that. It might make sense to delay if you're going to, clawback's going to be an issue. And again, we've talked about that in other topics. But important to remember, you have to decide when. OAS could be automatic. And in terms of the cash flow, if you decide to take it at 65, it's the month after your 65th birthday where the cash actually starts to arrive. So that's step number two. Decide when you want to apply. We'll get into step number three here, Kevin. How do you actually go about applying?
Yeah, and that's a big factor. Not everybody knows where to go. Now, it used to be a long form and everything else that you had to fill out, but there's more than that option nowadays. Not only can you deal with it where you're going to deal with it on the paper format, but you can also go online under your My Service Canada account and get it done that way. So that's one of the big factors. And under the My Service Canada account, if you take a look, as Clint has mentioned to me many times, it takes anywhere from 7 to 14 days for you to start getting the aspects to dealing with your CPP. If you go by the paper route, we are talking 120 days before you get it. So 2 weeks to 4 months. And again, that's assuming that they get your paperwork. You won't know for that time frame. And if not, then it's going to be even longer. So we can technically see that there's probably one way that works better than the other, don't you think?
I would say so. I mean, if you're going to do the mail route, maybe get a tracker on there just so you know where it is. You don't want to wait 120 days and then find out they didn't even get it. You have to restart the process. And this gets to one of our first tips. Get the My Service Canada account. You go online, canada.ca. You can sign up. There's some steps that walk you through that. But as you can see, it's a pretty big difference when it comes to applying for these pensions, doing it through that account, doing it online, as compared to doing it with the paper model. They put it right there on the website. There's a big difference in time delay between the two. So we've gone through the first couple of steps here, Kevin. Now we got to talk about the actual application. What are you going to need when you apply for CPP or when you apply for old age security? We'll start with CPP. There's a couple of provisions. The first one here, Kevin, is the child rearing provision. If that applies, what do you need?
Yeah, basically, and that's one thing to remember is that it is not automatic. You have to have certain information to be able to get what we need from CPP and OAS. So in the child rearing provisions we're talking about, you will need information on your kids, when they were born, What are their SIN numbers? This way the government can track this back to make sure that these are actually applicable to you, not just saying, well, I did child rearing. And again, this is not what's going on because you can't prove any of the scenarios that you've got listed down there. So SIN numbers, birth dates, that sort of scenario, information on your kids needs to be provided to go. That's the first one. What's the next step that we want to take a look at?
CPP, so child rearing. If you're raising kids under the age of 7, they drop it out of the formula, you get a higher pension. Also, if you're doing pension sharing, this again is CPP. So if you want to share your pension with your spouse, a form of income splitting, you can do that. You have to apply for it. And of course, you're going to need information on your spouse. So they're going to be asking for your spouse's SIN, birth date, legal name, all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to go through the application and you want to do pension sharing, have this ready in advance. It'll make life a little easier for you. And also, we had talked about earlier, what if you live abroad? What if you worked abroad? Well, they're going to want information on that too, aren't they going to, Kevin?
Yeah, they're going to want the details of your Social Security arrangements that you have. So if you have Social Security from another country because you were working abroad or things along those lines, they need to know this as the coordinations work through and what kind of a pension you're going to get and how it's going to apply to your Canadian situation as well. So again, the details that you have on that are necessary going forward. So remember, it's not just filling out your name and sending the paperwork in. There are a lot of different things that you need to know, and make sure you have that all in advance because it'll make it a lot easier for the whole process.
Absolutely. And the child rearing provision, the pension share, and those applying to CPP, the one you just talked about could be CPP or OAS, depending on the situation. This last one here, specifically specifically old age security. It's based on residency. So if you weren't born in Canada and you moved to Canada, well, they're going to know when you arrived in Canada. All those details of when you became a legal resident will be applicable because that'll help determine how much your pension is. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yes, it is. I mean, knowing those details are very important. So you have to know when you came in, and there obviously is going to be paperwork that can be conclusive on that, or something online that you have to prove when you came into the country. That is necessary. Otherwise, you may or may not qualify for that. So what are some of the tips that we want to talk about today, though, Clint, when we're dealing with applying for CPP and OAS?
Yeah, some extra tips people might not be aware of. So for old age security, this is specifically for old age security, there's a retroactive payment feature. Now, I'm on the Canada.ca website, specifically going through the details here for OAS, and you can see there's a maximum of 11 months from the date they receive your application where you can actually get a lump sum. So how this works is, let's say you're 66, said, oh, I wish I would have applied for OAS, back when I was 65. Well, you can do that. You can fill in an application and you can say, I actually wanted to take it 11 months ago, and they will honor that. And they'll give you a lump sum and say, you should have had, 11 months worth of payments. Here's that lump sum. Now going forward, you'll get the correct amount. So they give you almost 1 year, 11 months where you can make that decision and you can get that retroactive lump sum. Now, keep in mind, OAS does have a deferral, so the longer you wait, the bigger the payment. If you go to them at 66 and say, I wish I would have taken 11 months ago, you're going to get this old age security that would have applied back then. You won't get the bonus amount you get today. You'll get the version from 11 months ago. But it is an option most folks are not aware of. You can kind of retroactively apply and get the benefit of that. Another feature, Kevin, most folks are unaware of, you can cancel your CPP and OAS.
Yeah, basically, that's one thing. I mean, if you decide all of a sudden that you're getting more money in, and whether your OAS payment is small or your CPP is actually cutting in and making your OAS get clawed back at some point, you can cancel them within a certain period of time. And again, for OAS, it's listed at 6 months, and CPP, it's listed at 12. But what we're talking about is it's 6 months in the OAS case and the 12 months for the CPP case of when you receive that first payment. So once you've got it, you have that time frame, the clock is ticking. And if you are going to cancel, you do owe that money back to the government. It's not like I can take the first 6 months. Now I'm going to cancel. I don't want this anymore. No, they want their money back. And then you will collect when you start collecting going forward. So this way they don't have to worry about, did I take it at 65 or 66? Did I take it at 62? Whatever those cases may be, you do have to pay that money back. But it is important to realize that you can cancel this. That is not something that a lot of people realize, because they just assume once I take it, well, I'm going to get clawed back or whatever the case may be. So important to know that tip going forward.
Yeah, and I'd say especially important for old age security. If you take it and then you realize, oh, I'm getting hit by the clawback, I'm losing some of my OAS, it might be an option to cancel, and they do allow you to do that. So a few tips to keep in mind. I think this comes home to a point we often bring up.
Yes.
Important to have a plan. Lots of details here about CPP and OAS. We've covered it in other videos. Also comes down to the application. There's a number of nuances. Ensure you have a plan. All this is already worked in. Best way to go about it. Anything you want to add, Kevin?
No, I think you've covered that really well. I mean, the plan is definitely an important part. We stress that over and over and over again. Check out the other videos we have on this and on financial planning. And if you really want to get in touch with us, visit us at chatwithclintonandkevin.com. We are more than happy to answer any of the questions you have on this topic, how to apply, where to go, or any of the other financial matters. Other than that, I think we are good until the next Financial 15 comes up. On that note, I am going to say, have a good day, and we will see you next time.
Take care.